What's up guys, welcome to another episode of RB. So today the topic is going to be about something that most people hate, but it's actually good for them. And no, by the way, I'm not talking about vegetables, but that works too. Today's topic is going to be about failure and why it's actually very good for you. As cliche as it sounds, failure is actually stepping stones towards success. And there's a lot of stigma around it. Many people try to avoid it. Thankfully, this is getting less and less. But there is still a lot of people who view, failure as something very negative. How are we going to really view failure as something useful and positive in achieving our goals? Well, first things first, failure shows that you had courage. Failure means you had the courage to try, take risks and attempt at doing something that you weren't really 100% sure is going to happen. So it does mean that you have that risk-taking ability to get out of your comfort zone and really try out new things and things that you might not necessarily know anything about. Remember, courage doesn't mean that you're not afraid. Courage means that you are. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. Courage means that you are afraid and you're going to really, go and continue forward regardless. Failure makes you stronger. Now, what do I really mean by that? It's very improbable that we attempt something and get it the first time. Even more so, it's very improbable that, we get everything that we ask for. So what failure does is helps you develop a thicker skin, thicker to rejection, thicker to outcomes that you might not necessarily like, but that's the reality of life. There's going to be a lot of places, there's going to be a lot of events and a lot of scenarios where your expectations don't match the reality. And by going through failure and learning how to continue staying determined, how to keep trying and really not give up while on that journey towards your goal, that helps a lot with this kind of attitude. Failure helps you learn. It helps you to think about all the mistakes that you did, all those times that you did some things that necessarily didn't get you what you want. And by going through this process, you become what people call experienced. You become what people call a wise man or woman, and that's very useful. So don't think about failure as something that's embarrassing or something that shows you're not capable. It's just one specific event that you learned won't work while you're going towards whatever it is you're trying to achieve. It's a learning process, and as you start this journey from scratch and you become a more experienced person, these things tend to happen. Failure tends to happen, and over time you'll realize that it's something very common. And you'll realize it's actually very good for you. It helps you grow. Honestly, it's very good for your character. Think about it. When you fail, you learn to develop consistency and persistence. So consistency and persistence. When you're trying to achieve a goal and it doesn't happen the first time, the second time, the third time, the skills that you use, the persistence, the courage that you find in yourself, within yourself to continue, to keep moving forward, that's something that's very precious, not just in achieving your goals, but in many other scenarios that you might face in life. Failure creates new opportunities. Many people think that specific door frame that they're trying to get into is the only door that leads them to happiness and success and whatever that they find fulfilling in life. But once that door is shut on them, then they are forced to look up, to look for new doors, to look for new opportunities. And that's how new experiences are formed in your life. It provides answers. If you sit down on your butt and don't do anything, if you don't act on that, business idea, on that proposal, on that idea that you had in your mind for a long time, if you don't act on that, then you're never going to know if it failed or not. And honestly, the weight of regret is much more than the weight of failure. I know it's a cliche that many successful people use, but it's actually very true. If you have a certain idea that you want to accomplish, a certain goal you want to accomplish, and you don't act on it out of the fear that you're going to fail, then what's going to happen if one day you get to a point where you start saying what if? These what ifs, the regret that these what ifs create is so much worse than that failure. Because you fail and you keep trying, you reiterate and you keep going, and eventually you're gonna get it. But if you don't try, then you're never even gonna get started and never accomplish anything. I will leave the last point for you guys to think about. Think about it. Look around you. See who you consider a successful person, and then think whether or not they ever failed in their lives. Chances are they failed more than a dozen of times until they get what they want. Think about people who are at the top of their own field. Top-notch, world-class people in their own careers, in their own fields, in their own industries, and really see whether or not they failed. 100%, most of them failed more than 10 times. And that's a lesson to be learned. That's something that we should all try to achieve. To keep trying, to keep going, pushing forward, and on the way, fail and learn from it. The key thing is to learn and get back up. Of course, we don't want to fail and just stay there depressed, right? So in conclusion, I think you guys get the point. Failure is actually good for you. Now it depends how you want to see it. Some people see it as something to start getting depressed about and get anxious and insecure about, while others really try to turn things around and see that failure as lessons learned so that they don't commit the same mistakes again next time. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the benefits of failure. I hope you guys liked the video. I give out videos every Tuesday, so stay tuned, and thanks a lot for watching.